Members, it's the appointed time. We have a quorum. I call to order the meeting. Agenda Item 1, Information Paper issued since the last meeting. Please refer to LC paper number CB bracket 21058/2025 bracket 01. Information paper provided by the administration entitled Amendments to the Forms of Relevant Fixed Penalty Notices under the Fixed Penalty Public Cleanliness and Obstruction Ordinance. The above paper is set out on the agenda. Agenda Item 2, Items for discussion at the next meeting. I'll ask the clerk to invite the government representatives to join us first. There are two papers, LC paper number CB bracket 21136/2025 bracket 01 and bracket 02. They are list of outstanding items for discussion and list of follow-up actions. The next regular meeting of this panel will be held at 2:30 p.m. on the 8th of July. It's a Tuesday. The administration suggests discussing the following two items. 1. Proposed amendments to the Sweeteners in Food Regulations Cap 132U. It's the first item on the list of outstanding items for discussion. 2. The second Hong Kong Total Diet Study is the second item on the list. This item is supposed to be discussed today. However, the bill concerning the registered fire engineer scheme is to be introduced to LegCo soon. That's why we are prioritizing that item. Do members have any views? If not, the above two items are what we are going to discuss in the next meeting. Agenda Item Proper 3, Leisure Farming and Fisheries. Please refer to LC paper number CB bracket 21136/2025 bracket 03 and bracket 04. Members who would like to speak, please press the Request to Speak button. Welcome, Secretary for Environment and Ecology, Director of Agriculture, Fisheries and Conservation. We also have with us Ms. Ivy Law, Deputy Secretary for Environment and Ecology, Mr. Peter Ma, Assistant Director from the AFCD, as well as Dr. Jim Chu, Assistant Director from the AFCD. Secretary, over to you. We are here today to brief members on the latest progress of the various measures for promoting the development of leisure farming and fisheries, as well as the government support for the industries. The government is proactively taking forward the various measures under the Blueprint for the Sustainable Development of Agriculture and Fisheries to assist the industries in upgrading and transforming towards modernization, intensification, and sustainable development, including promoting the development of leisure farming and fisheries. On leisure farming, since the launch of the Agri-Enjoy scheme in June 2024, the AFCD has assisted farms which are mainly engaged in commercial crop production in providing leisure activities as their ancillary business. And last year, we further relaxed the relevant arrangement. We currently have recreational fishing rafts as well as other facilities. We plan to, in Q3 this year, roll out the Fish Enjoy scheme. And the fish farmers that participate in the scheme, they will be able to sell self-cultured fisheries products and dishes made mainly with their own fisheries products. They can also provide recreational fishing as well as activities related to fisheries education. Also, to help capture operations transform, the AFCD is studying the feasibility of allowing dual uses of Class 3 fishing vessels. We will consult the relevant stakeholders in a timely manner. Today, we are here to make a report to members. We will continue to create favorable conditions by relaxing restrictions imposed by laws and regulations, offering training, financial and technical support to fishermen and farmers, as well as enhancing publicity to assist the industries in the development of leisure farming and fisheries. Now I will invite Dr. Jim Chu from the AFCD to give us a PowerPoint presentation. Dr. Chu, please. Under the development blueprint, there are measures to relax restrictions to provide scope for development, promote diversity of the industry, enhance publicity and promotion, as well as to promote diversity of the industry. As mentioned, last June we rolled out the Angry Enjoy scheme. It is mainly to assist farms which are mainly engaged in commercial crop production. As at April this year, over 100 farms have joined the scheme. Simply put, participating farms can provide light meals, mainly with self-grown crops. They can also prepare meals through cooking without fire. They can allow visitors to pick their own crops. To diversify the activities, the AFCD has further relaxed the restrictions. In terms of food ingredients, apart from self-grown crops, farms can use other ingredients such as meat and toppings. They can also make use of small electrical appliances to prepare bakery products. In terms of dessert, they can provide dessert made by licensed food factories with self-grown crops. On leisure fishing, currently there are about 50 fish rafts that provide recreational fishing. They are in different parts of Hong Kong waters. And the recreational fishing rafts, they are mostly in Pak Nai, Lau Fau Shan, and Yuen Long. There is a long history to our fishing culture, so there are favorable conditions for us to develop recreational fisheries. We also have a very good shoreline and an abundant marine resources. We plan to launch the Fish and Joy scheme. It is to allow mariculture rafts and inland fish farms to provide leisure activities. We plan to launch the scheme in Q3 this year. Under the scheme, fish farms can offer guided tours as well as workshops. They can also sell their own fisheries products. In terms of tourism, food is crucial. We will allow fish farms to provide meals through cooking without fire. In terms of capture operations, we're exploring the dual uses of Class 3 fishing vessels. We hope to relax the relevant restrictions. We will allow Class 3 vessels to be used for fishing, and also under the premise of ensuring safety, we want to allow Class 3 vessels to be able to carry passengers. We're talking to the Marine Department about the feasibility. This includes matters relating to modification standards for fishing vessels, exemptions for licensing and insurance, and so on. We will consult the stakeholders in an appropriate juncture. In terms of relaxing restrictions, in March 2024, we got the approval from the Town Planning Board. And we can now include the approved activities into the statutory plan for agricultural use. Also, we are relaxing the requirements for food business licenses on the premise of not compromising food safety and environmental hygiene. We will continue to explore the feasibility of relaxing restrictions. In terms of financial support, we have been offering financial support through the Sustainable Fisheries Development Fund and the Sustainable Agricultural Development Fund. Eligible fish farms or crop farms may apply for grants under the Equipment Improvement Project or the Farm Improvement Scheme to procure additional equipment to provide leisure activities as their ancillary business. We have been offering training courses, seminars, and workshops to assist farmers and fishermen in acquiring skills and information on operating leisure fisheries and farming. We have also led demonstration guided tours, as well as set up a demonstration counter for application for food business licenses. In terms of publicity and promotion, we organized the sail into Fun Leisure Fisheries Expo, and also in Shenzhen, there was the International Fisheries and Seafood Expo. Every year we have the Farm Fest as well. We will, through different channels, step up our publicity efforts. We have a social media account and we also have a dedicated information website. We will continue to work with the relevant government departments, including the Tourism Commission, to promote tourism is everywhere in Hong Kong. We'll also work with different organizations to design integrated itineraries encompassing eating, playing, shopping, and learning, and combining different island tours, eco tours, and leisure and cultural tours to provide a rich leisure experience for visitors. 8 members have asked to speak. They are Mr. Bill Tang, Ms. Chen Yut-ming, Mr. Ronick Chen, Mr. Benson Look, Mr. Stephen Ho, Mr. Eric Yim, Mr. Kitson Yang, and Mr. Scott Learn. 5 minutes for each member, including questions and answers. Mr. Bill Tang, please. I thank the administration for organizing the schemes in a continuous basis. Leisure farming is crucial. Have you looked at the total volume? We want the fisheries industry to operate in a sustainable manner. At the same time, we want to promote the development of the tourism industry in Hong Kong. This has to do with traffic safety, and there are also ecosystems that are more sensitive and require protection. Have you thought about all these? Secretary, I'll invite the director to elaborate. What we want to do now is that we do not want to focus on one specific place. We want to promote the development of the entire industry. We want to assist farms in different places in Hong Kong. We want to relax restrictions so that fish rafts can provide leisure activities. This will help them increase their revenue. This will also offer them more incentives. Well, they do not run on a large scale. So it's not that we are building or existing big facilities. So there aren't a lot of impacts on traffic. We don't have to focus on particular tourism areas. Let's see if the director has anything to add. I thank Mr. Tang for the questions. We hope to have different characteristics in different districts. As seen from the PowerPoint presentation, we're working towards one direction. We hope that each district has different characteristics. We want agriculture and fisheries elements in each district. Now, for both Agri and Joy scheme and the Fish and Joy scheme, we are trying to offer support. We don't expect a heavy footfall or a high number of visitors. We don't want to affect the normal operation of farming. We also want to ensure that the neighboring fish rafts, for example, will not be affected. We have consulted the relevant organizations to ensure that no adverse impacts will be posed on the neighboring fish rafts. So our goal is to have different characteristics in different districts so that the entire industry can flourish. We also don't want to exert pressure on a particular district or area.
Ms. Chen Yit-ming. Thank you, Chairman. I'm not a member of the panel. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to put my questions. In June, the government rolled out this Fish and Joy scheme. I witnessed the first application for agriculture, or rather Agri Enjoy scheme, together with the director. I'm glad that the government has rolled out measures to improve the farm income of our local farmers. The cost of participating in the scheme is not low. I hope that the government will relax the restrictions on the types of food that can be enjoyed by the participants. Very recently, the government further relaxed the restrictions. And I appreciate the government for that. Currently, the government set up a list of permitted foods to be provided at the Agri Enjoy scheme. In order to promote innovation among the trade, I hope that the government will create a negative list instead by including the list of food that is not allowed to be provided in activities under the Agri Enjoy scheme. Many farmers grow strawberries during winter time because it's very popular and the volume of harvest is usually high. I think that we should be flexible to promote the development of the trade. Agricultural industry depends very much on the weather. We're about to have a rainstorm very soon. Some farmers told me that they have to harvest their watermelons very early. I will ask the farmers to sell their watermelons early, and I thank the colleagues from the Liberal Party for the help. Director, I believe that you're not responsible for the licensing. FVHD is the department for that. That's true, but we work together with the FVHD on the promotion of the Agri Enjoy scheme. Thank you. Since the launch of the Agri Enjoy scheme, we have been in close communication with the participating farmers. Some farmers said that they have problems with mochi and fruit jellies. We're going to work with them on these issues. We will keep in view the scheme and the changes in the market trend. We will see if we can further relax the restrictions and include more types of food that are allowed under the scheme. Any follow-up questions? No. I think that we should relax the restrictions for licenses. Instead of allowing farmers to only allow their participants to cook self-grown crops, we should invite them to include more food types. When my wife was a teacher, she had some friends who own empty farmland, and she let some of her students to farm at those lands. So I wonder if the administration will promote the Agri Enjoy scheme among schools so that students can experience farming. Thank you. Next, Mr. Chen Chenying. Thank you, Chairman. I have 3 questions. First, I'm glad to hear that the government has various funds to support the trade, but I believe that's for the upgrade and transform of the farmers. But in order for them to expand their business, they need electronic payment tools and online platforms. I believe that the farmers will have to apply for funds under the ITIB and the CNDB. For example, Will the Bureau coordinate the application of such funds? Now, on the collaboration with fisheries and or agricultural trades. On the mainland, they have a mode of partnership where the fisheries and agricultural trade practitioners can work together to jointly promote their business. Will you coordinate the same in Hong Kong to promote their competitiveness? I think that apart from attracting local visitors to join the scheme, we should also make it more appealing to mainland tourists. There is a KOL called Mr. Lee who shot videos of how he grew the crops and cooked them. Perhaps we should make similar videos. So that more foreign and mainland visitors will join the scheme. Thank you. Director. Each farmer can have $50,000 granted under the fund if they want to participate in leisure farming. For farmers of larger scale, they can apply for the funds under ITIB. I thank Mr. Chan for his suggestion. The AFCD promotes the characteristics of farmlands and fish culture zones in each district. We're happy to work with the fishermen and the farmers to promote the culture of a particular district. In Yunnan, we have Wu Tao. That's a particular type of fish there. Lastly, thank you for your suggestion. We may invite influencers to help promote the schemes. Thank you. Chairman, I think that they should try making 1 to 2 videos to see how many views they get. By this, they can test the attractiveness of their schemes. Well, we have quite a number of influencers in this room. You can pick among them. Mr. Benson Look. Thank you. On the promotion of leisure farming and fisheries, I have 2 suggestions. First, in April this year, the government relaxed the restrictions by allowing farmers to add ingredients that are not self-grown. And in the 3rd quarter this year, we're going to roll out the Fish and Joy scheme. The purpose of these schemes is to boost the business of our farmers and fishermen. In order for us to achieve these goals, we must also promote tourism. The administration said that they're going to work with the Tourism Commission. But actually, last Sunday, the Tourism Board rolled out an island hopping tour where visitors can visit different islands via vessels. But after joining the tour, the visitors didn't have much choice. It seems that the only option they had was to stay in Sai Kung to enjoy the seafood. I think that we have to perhaps repackage the idea. Perhaps the visitors can board the boat or vessel at Saikong and hop up at a island to join the Fish and Joy scheme. On paragraph 10, capture operations. In the end of 2023, we rolled out the blueprint for sustainable development of fisheries. There is a mention of dual uses of vessels. 1.5 years has passed. It seems that the government is still looking into it to see if it's feasible. We want the Class 3 vessels to be able to carry passengers at sea for leisure fishing. When will the administration give us the result of their study? Secretary. Thank you, Mr. Luck, for the question. I will ask the director to further elaborate. On the point about dual uses of vessels, we're working with the Marine Department to look into the feasibility of it, because the Marine Department will have to establish updated rules and look into matters relating to modification standards for fishing vessels, so on and so forth. And we're going to give you more details by the end of this year, together with the CSTB and the Tourism Board. We're looking into how we can attract more participants to the Fish and Joy and Agri and Joy scheme. So that we can jointly promote them. Director. Thank you. We have a close liaison with the Tourism Commission. When we design these Agri and Joy schemes and Fish and Joy schemes, we always engage the Tourism Commission to see how we can better promote them. Previously, we had itineraries covering Chen Chao, Lantau, and so on to allow visitors to access fish rafts and enjoy locally harvested fish products. We will engage the stakeholders to listen to their views. Regarding dual uses of vessels, we have been working with the Marine Department on studying the feasibility of it. At the same time, we have been talking to the stakeholders. Vessels come in different sizes and length. We have to look at the type of fishing boats that are the most suitable. We have a direction currently. We will allow fishing boats or fishing vessels of 15 to 20 meters to carry passengers at sea for leisure fishing to make sure that it's safe. We're going to give you more details by the end of this year. Next, Deputy Chairman. Thank you. I thank the EEB and the Secretary for launching the Agri and Joy scheme and the Fish and Joy scheme. I agree with what the chairman said. We have to further relax restrictions. We have to have a goal in mind before we look into our laws and regulations. Previously, at strawberry farms, people could not turn the strawberries they picked into, say, strawberry juice. Now the government has relaxed the restrictions. I'm glad to see that. On the point about dual uses of vessels, I hope that traditional fishermen can transform their business and increase or boost their business. But there could be potential conflicts within the trade because interests of some parties may be harmed. I think that we should create a leisure fisheries park so that we can limit the number or type of fishermen that can offer leisure fishing. As the threshold of Fish and Joy scheme is rather high, we don't see many participants joining the scheme. In 2015, the government rolled out a guidelines on Agri-Enjoy. I think that you should distribute the booklet to each and every member here. Participants joining the scheme have to apply for the food factory license. There are certain restrictions. They have to pay, say, $3,740 for it, and the food factory should be larger than 100 square meters. So I think that the cost to be incurred is too high. I hope that the government will lower the restrictions. Thank you.
국장.
Secretary. I thank Mr. Ho for the questions. I think we are working towards the same direction. It's not that we're trying to build big restaurants or hotels. Instead, we are having fish farmers make use of their fish rafts to provide leisure activities. As mentioned, we will continue to talk to them to see what we can do for the next step. We think that our current practice is rather pragmatic. You mentioned that we can use marine parks and that we can review our thresholds. We will work on these. Let's see if the director has anything to add. Director. Some members of the industry have concerns. Our view is that we want to grow this industry of leisure farming and leisure fishing. The A&F industry has its unique industry. For example, we have a rich fishing culture. We can also demonstrate fishing activities to visitors. There may not necessarily give rise to direct competition among stakeholders. As for marine parks, without compromising nature conservation, can we make use of marine parks to roll out more leisure and recreational activities for members of the public? We will think about this. Mr. Ho, please switch on his mic. Do you have any figures on the number of leisure farms and also the cost for applying for the license? Well, 100 square meter is the lowest standard. I've seen farms of just 30 square meters. Well, please talk to the AFCD. Next, Mr. Eric Yim. Thank you. There are quite a number of fish rafts in Hong Kong that can provide recreational fishing activities, and this has attracted visitors from the mainland to Hong Kong to spend the weekend. Because of environmental reasons, there have been strict restrictions. For example, people cannot cook on fish rafts. They cannot provide meals or beverages on fish rafts. This January, relevant restrictions have been relaxed and eligible fish farms can provide designated or specified food products. However, the industry is of the view that restrictions can be further relaxed. Is it possible to relax restrictions in relation to cooking seafood that is freshly caught? This can enrich the experience of visitors that participate in recreational fishing. Will the administration study this? I think the administration mentioned about cooking without fire. Did I get it correctly? You can cook, but then it has to be cooking without fire. Currently, the license terms allow fish farmers to cook without fire. So yes, that's my first question. Second question. A number of cities in the mainland, such as Guangzhou, has been building intelligent tourism platforms. They integrate deep sea and shallow sea for developing their tourism industry, and they provide diving and surfing activities. They are building a base, a tourism base for all these activities. Will Hong Kong learn from Guangzhou so that we can build a large-scale deep-sea mariculture platform? Will Hong Kong work with Shenzhen first to build a platform or base for a pilot scheme? This can help facilitate the growth of our economy. Secretary, I'll say a few words first. Overall speaking, we've been trying to promote recreational fishing activities. It's possible for us to build seafood restaurants, for example, but the investment cost will be high. So we're thinking about how we can, under the current license terms or under the TPB rules, allow fish farmers to provide recreational fishing. On leisure fishing, we will launch the Fish and Joy scheme in the third quarter this year. We will allow people to cook the seafood that is freshly caught in the future. Currently, we allow cooking without fire only. As to whether we will learn from the practices in the mainland, if there are favorable conditions or if situations permit, we will study the feasibility. However, the fish rafts in Hong Kong are rather small, so it might not be possible for us to build such a big platform. We will, however, explore the different feasibilities. Director, anything to add? On cooperating with Shenzhen, in May, we took part in the International Fisheries and Seafood Expo in Shenzhen. We talked to the relevant authorities in Shenzhen, and they are interested in cooperating with us to build a leisure fishing platform. We will see if there is room for us to cooperate with them. Next, Mr. Kitson Young. I want to first commend the administration's effort in launching the Agri and Joy scheme. It's going to launch the Fish and Joy scheme soon. For both schemes, the administration has incorporated a lot of tourism elements to enrich visitors' experience. Compared to the similar schemes in the mainland, we are at the junior level. In the mainland, the development of the relevant schemes is vibrant. I want to share with you my experience in Hainan 5 years ago. There are many investors in Hainan that invest in the agriculture industry. Farmers may grow vegetables or flowers. and they don't have to worry about marketing their crops. After they've grown their crops, they turn the entire farm into a site for a light show. So at night, you can visit these farms to enjoy a light show. They've also turned part of their farms into lodgings for visitors. So you can integrate culture with tourism, be it the Fish and Joy scheme or the Agri and Joy scheme. We have to go further. In order to further promote the development of our agriculture industry, we have to learn from the mainland model. We can think about whether we can relax the relevant restrictions and invite investors to invest in our farms. Then we can further turn our farms into a tourism destinations. I think we can learn from the Hainan model. Secretary, I thank Mr. Kitson Yang for the sharing. Our strategy at this stage is to assist the small-scale farms in Hong Kong to grow their business. This is our starting point. The point is to help these farmers increase their revenue. If we see success in the Fish and Joy scheme and the Agri and Joy scheme, we'll think about how to expand the schemes. A member asked whether we can integrate our farms and turn them into a tourism destination. This is our plan. We'll think about how to further develop the industry. For those with financial ability, we welcome them to invest in our farms. We can see how we can group together our farmers and grow our industry. We can work on the plan together. On the other hand, apart from the Fish and Joy scheme as well as the Agri and Joy scheme, through our Rural Conservation Office, we've been offering support to those in remote areas. In Lai Chi Wo, we have 21 village houses, and they've been granted a license to run guest houses. So in different aspects, we've been relaxing restrictions. We want to first encourage farmers to grow their business. If we're able to bring in investors, it will be better. Anything to add, Director? Chairman, I'd like to say a few more words. If we are interested in growing our industry, well, different government departments have been saying that they want to compete and troll for enterprises. Can the AFCD work on this as well? For places with vibrant agriculture development, can we bring in investors from these places? If they are interested, can we, through sandbox schemes, deal with problems concerning our laws and regulations? This way, we can promote further development of our A&F industry. Well, I think Ms. Chen Yutming is saying that there will be a typhoon soon. And some farmers are worried about their watermelons. So I was thinking we LegCo members can help buy some watermelons from them. It's not that we will have group purchasing. Mr. Scotland, I am very enthusiastic about recreational fishing, so I support the government's project. For fishing, I think we need more publicity and promotion. According to the paper, the government will help the relevant fish farmers to launch publicity campaigns. We have inland farms as well as fish rafts in Hong Kong. Let's not talk about their locations first. Well, I want to see whether the information platform has the relevant information to attract visitors to take part in recreational fishing. Apart from traffic, we also care about weather if we are to take part in recreational fishing. I pay attention to the weather before I go, So we have to have more promotion in this regard. Just now, the director said that in future, the administration would like to grow the industry. However, currently, fish farmers and crop farmers, they focus on their major business now. I'm worried if this will pose restrictions to the farmers. Just now we talked about developing the tourism industry. What if our fish farmers and crop farmers switch their attention to recreational activities instead of their main business? In the mainland, for inland fish farms, they have been developing e-sports fishing. And this creates a greater value compared to mariculture. In the mainland, they have e-sports fishing competition. We have national fisher in this regard. Can we further relax our restrictions so that the industry can slowly transform itself? Say we can have a seafood restaurant there, we can have lodgings there, then we can direct our farmers to move towards developing e-sports fishing, for example.
Secretary, we want to help farmers and fishermen to sustain their business by rolling out our schemes and offering funds for them. From the perspective of tourism development, we try to promote the schemes so that local farmers and fishermen can collaborate with other industries. We have been working with the CSTB. They sometimes help us promote our schemes. But our main goal is to help the fishermen and the farmers to sustain their fisheries and agricultural business. I don't think that there is a conflict between these two goals. Director, please. Thank you. I'd like to talk about our promotion platforms. We're not just going to publicize recreational fishing, because sometimes under the scheme, the participating fishermen also organize educational activities and guided tours. If feasible, we are going to include more functions to our promotional platform. We may include a search functions so that people can look up what family-friendly activities we have. We're going to include this function within this year. Next, Mr. Chu Kwok-keun. Thank you, Chairman. I think that is great that we're developing leisure farming and fisheries, and schools benefit as well. We have study tours coming from the mainland every day, but they mostly just go to, say, the cultural centers, the Avenue of Star, or the Peak. They rarely visit our farmlands. So are we going to promote our local farms to these mainland schools? Should we ask them to, say, offer 普通话 guided tours? Second, I wonder if you have any statistics on the number of students who have participated in the schemes or leisure farming or fisheries. Will you have a list of farms and fish raft offering recreational farming and fishing? I received some booklets on, say, tourism spots in Hong Kong. I think they are very useful. Currently, there is not a systematic way for us to look up farming activities that are suitable for us or for schools. Secretary, I will ask the director to answer the questions. Thank you. I thank Mr. Chu for the suggestions. I believe that some farmers and local fishermen arrange school visits to their venues. I'm not sure if there are any mainland study tours visiting these farms or fish rafts. We're going to enhance communication with the mainland schools. We don't have the figures on the number of students who have participated in leisure farming or fisheries. Regarding promotion and publicity, we target to upload all the activities that we have onto the platform. The booklet mentioned by Mr. Chu was compiled by us, which include the list of farmlands offering recreational farming in Hong Kong. The same information is, well, the content of the booklet is still available online. We tailor our promotional campaigns to our target audience, and if we are to promote the activities to school, we'll talk to the Education Bureau as to how we can do that. Ms. Chan Hoi Yan, thank you. I see that the AFCG is making progress in promoting leisure farming and fisheries. However, given the restrictions on the use of farmland and types of food that can be offered, there's still some way to go before we can reach our ideals. I know that the government has relaxed some of the restrictions on Agri-Enjoy scheme and the sale into fund, leisure, fisheries expo, and the farm fest. I wonder if the government will issue a new type of license for participants of Agri-Enjoy scheme or Fish Enjoy scheme instead of asking participants to obtain food factory license or guest house license. As some member has said, the food factory at a farmland is very small. We should not apply the restrictions or requirements imposed under the food factory license on the farmers or fishermen who participate in the Agri-Enjoy or Fish Enjoy scheme. I think that you should design a new type of license instead. Third, we talk about organic farming all the time. In Hong Kong, we grow flowers as well. Some farmlands in Hong Kong actually grow sunflowers. And many people like to take photos there. So I wonder if there is potential to this type of farmlands growing flowers. Regarding this farm-to-table concept, I wonder if the AFCD will work with the restaurants to help our local farmers upgrade and transform. Thank you. Director. Secretary. I will say a few words first. We start small because the scale of local farming and agriculture is rather small. If we expand the scheme too substantially, the requirements to be imposed may be too high for our existing farmers and fishermen. We don't want to subject our local farmers and fishermen with too high restrictions. I don't think the problem lies with the licenses. As we progressively expand the scheme, we will see if we should allow farmers to offer more food type. Currently, people can turn their small houses into guest houses. I think that we should take things step by step. We keep an open mind to what you said, but we try to tailor our schemes in accordance with the demand. Regarding farms growing flowers, I will ask the director to elaborate. Thank you. We do have farms growing flowers, but the scale is not as large as those growing fruits or vegetables. But I'm not sure if floral farmers are interested in offering recreational activities, because recreational elements would encompass eating, playing, shopping, and learning. We'll talk to the stakeholders. Regarding the farm-to-table concept, I believe that some fish raft and farmers are working on it, and they collaborate with restaurants in their respective districts. We try to encourage local residents to purchase local grown crops and fish products. We'll try to create a local brand, and we will identify suitable restaurants and retail stores to sell our local products. Next, Mr. Tony Che. Thank you. I support the various measures rolled out by the government. The administration said that with reference to the successful experience of the Agri Enjoy scheme, they plan to launch the Fish Enjoy scheme in the third quarter this year. They also talked about allowing dual uses of Class 3 vessels. I hope that the administration will take into account the cost when they come up with the modification standards. If the requirements is too strict and no one would want to apply for such dual use. In terms of financial support, sometimes it takes a very long time for an application of funding to be approved, and opportunities may be missed in the interim. And for money that has already been spent, the government sometimes refuses to reimburse them to the applicants. So I hope that the administration will streamline their application procedures and have regards to the difficulties and needs of the applicants. So regarding the Sustainable Fisheries Development Fund, I wonder what the application procedures are like.
Secretary, on our discussion with the Marine Department about modification standards for fishing vessels, I'll ask the AFCD to supplement. Thank you. We talked to the Marine Department about matters in relation to modification standards for fishing vessels. Our first priority is safety, as well as the relevant requirement. I agree with Mr. Tony Che. We have to see whether the industry will be able to comply with the requirements. We don't want to roll out a proposal and then the trade finds the threshold too high. On the Sustainable Agricultural Development Fund, we have been refining and improving the application as well as the approval procedures. For projects that involve a lower cost and projects that are less complicated, we don't necessarily have to hold a meeting to discuss the application. We do it on paper, and then we approve the application. Before applicants submit their applications, we invite them to talk to our staff. We want to have a detailed exchange with the applicants before we approve and vet the applications. This is to save time. Moving forward, we will continue to take into account views offered by the trade to see how we can further improve the application procedure under the fund. Thank you. Next, Mr. Judy Chen. Thank you, Chairman. I want to commend the Secretary first. The Secretary has done a lot on leisure farming and fisheries. Some members have raised examples of how we can learn from the mainland in this regard. On strengthening publicity and promotion, I have some suggestions. I think we have to start with education. Like recycling, we have to educate our children first. A lot of parents would like their children to experience farming, to teach them how to grow crops and grow fish. Parents want their children to learn how food is produced. Of course, children, when they experience farming, they are not like farmers who work very hard every day. On parent-child activities, can we do more? For example, in the mainland, there are tree growing schemes. You spend $1,000 to $2,000 every year, and then in return, you get a few boxes of oranges because you sponsored the growing of an orange tree. By sponsoring the planting of a tree, you're establishing a connection with the tree. And if children can take part in this kind of schemes, it can help increase their interest in the environment. I know that a lot of commercial elements are involved, and businesses, of course, they want to make profit in order to ensure the sustainable development of their business. Can we have tree sponsoring schemes like those in the mainland? Can we have fish sponsoring schemes to help farmers increase their revenue? And this is also to help strengthen education. Secretary or Director, I thank Ms. Judy Chen for the suggestion. Secretary said it's a great idea, and I agree. Parent-child activities are in general very popular. Children, they can take part in these activities with their family. And this is great for not just educational purposes, but also great for family connection. I will talk to people in leisure farming. I'll also talk to NGOs. Like Mr. Look said, we can have a product that attracts parents and children, and I think this is very meaningful. Any follow-up questions? No? Mr. Peter Xu. Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Stephen Ho represents the agriculture and fishery industries. He's been promoting the development of the ANF industry. I see that in recent years, the government has rolled out a number of schemes for leisure farming and fisheries. People in Hong Kong, as well as visitors from other places, they have more tourist destinations. This is because we want to promote tourism is everywhere in Hong Kong, and we want to make good use of our resources to grow our tourism industry. So I support these schemes for leisure farming and fisheries. I'm very keen on fishing. Paragraph 6 of the paper mentions that license holders, they can apply for a letter so that they can provide recreational fishing. Is this restricted to fish rafts? Director, people can fish the fish in fish rafts or fish outside the fish rafts. By growing fish in fish rafts, you may be able to attract fish from outside of the rafts. So there are two types of fishing. I see that fish farmers can provide light meals such as instant noodles or dim sum for visitors. How about fish that are caught in the fish rafts? Well, we're going to launch the Fish Enjoy scheme in the third quarter this year. Visitors who manage to catch fish farmers may, through cooking without fire, cook the fish and provide it as a dish for visitors. Yesterday, I saw from media reports that there are 50,000 fish without affecting the food chain. I think we can have places with coral reefs. Then we can build an ecosystem for fish. We can offer room for fish, and that could be a place for fishing as well. We can create more room for this. And also, if the cost is not high, if you place more fish in the fish rafts, it would definitely attract more visitors and even local people to visit these fish rafts in the weekend. Each of them may spend $100 to $200, and if you can cook the fish that they catch, it will be more appealing. Now, for agricultural products, again, we have to find room to grow crops, but this is not my expertise. You may have to consult Mr. Stephen Ho for that. Thank you. Anything to add, administration? I completely agree with Mr. Peter Xu. We have been trying to build artificial coral reefs to have a better environment for fish seedlings. We are also trying to place fish seedlings in the sea. With more resources, this will not only benefit capture operations, it will also benefit the sports industry, for example. So we're wrapping up this item. I thank the Secretary as well as the other government officials for attending this item. Now we move on to the next item, Registered Fire Engineer Scheme. Please refer to LC paper number CB bracket 21136/2025 bracket 05 and bracket 06. Bracket 05 is the paper provided by the administration and bracket 06 is the background brief prepared by the Legislative Secretariat. Let's invite government officials to join us. This item is a legislative proposal, so all members of the Legislative Council are invited to join the discussion of this item. Members who would like to speak, please press the Request to Speak button. To give you some background information, this item has been discussed at the panel on security. This is about the Registered Fire Engineer Scheme. This item is also discussed here because registered fire engineers will charge a fee for issuing certificates at food premises. So we are revamping the fee schedule, and after the revamp there won't be a higher cost. The fee will remain the same. The scheme is to offer an additional option for those who want to apply for a food business license. Undersecretary, welcome. Over to you. Thank you. The Fire Services Department will soon roll out the Registered Fire Engineer or the RFE scheme, with the first phase to be implemented for the application of food business licenses. Today, the Security Bureau as well as the FEHD will brief members on the scheme. We will also brief members on the revamp of the fee schedule. The Security Bureau as well as the FEHD will brief members on the relevant amendments to the Public Health and Municipal Services Fees Regulation. Now I invite the Security Bureau to brief members on the Fire Engineer Scheme. Afterwards, I will supplement on the amendment to the Public Health and Municipal Services Fees Regulation. Undersecretary, currently, those who intend to run certain types of premises, they have to obtain a certificate. This is to comply with all relevant fire safety requirements. And currently, they can only rely on services provided by the FSD. In order to make better use of the professionals as well as the human resources on the market, we suggest that we should implement the Registered Fire Engineer Scheme so that qualified professionals can help conduct fire safety risk assessments and conduct compliance inspections in relation to ventilation systems, for example, to provide an additional option for those who want to apply for a license. Qualified persons can apply to be a registered fire engineer. There will be 3 types of fire engineers. They are RFE risk assessment, who will conduct fire safety risk assessments and formulate fire safety requirements. They will also conduct compliance inspections concerning ventilation systems as well as fire service installations. We are taking forward the legislative exercise in phases. In 2017, we enacted the Fire Service Amendment Ordinance. One of the major considerations behind establishing this scheme is that we will not affect fire safety or public safety. So we will come up with a rigorous regulation mechanism. There are several layers to this mechanism. There are stringent requirements in terms of qualifications. Only those who are qualified can join the industry. Secondly, to registered engineers, we will issue code of conduct and code of practice and guidelines to make sure that they comply with the requirements. Thirdly, to ensure fire safety standards. FSD will require that fire safety requirements formulated by an RFE must be endorsed by the FSD before they're issued to the applicants. Also, on a random basis, the FSD will select premises for audit inspections of at least 70% of the certification completed by an RFE. We'll also come up with a disciplinary mechanism. We will set up a disciplinary board to investigate any complaints concerning RFEs that fail to discharge their responsibilities and duties. The previous Bills Committee has already expressed support to our proposed amendments. On potential conflicts of interest, we have already come up with a regulatory mechanism. We have consulted the ICAC. The relevant measures will be listed in the Code of Practice and Guidelines. Also, we propose amending the Prevention of Bribery Ordinance to further enhance the prevention against the possibility of corruption in the scheme. We propose a phased implementation approach. Food premises, they usually face lower fire safety risks, and this kind of license applications account for 50% of our work. So we suggest that we deal with food business licenses first. And after we've implemented the first phase, we will evaluate the effectiveness. Afterwards, we will consider expanding this scheme to other types of premises. As mentioned, the RFE scheme is to provide an additional option for license applicants. This is to facilitate business operations. In other words, license applicants, they can still opt for services provided by the FSD. Chairman, the FSD has been proactively implementing the relevant scheme, and we've consulted the relevant sector and stakeholders. We have listened to views of all the relevant stakeholders. In terms of our Code of Practice and Guidelines, we will provide practical guidance. We are working in full steam. We hope that by the 1st of November this year, we'll be able to officially implement this RFE scheme. We hope to help grow the fire engineer field in Hong Kong. At the same time, we want to have a win-win situation. Thank you.
Will this be subject to positive vetting? Yes. This was tabled before the House Committee last Friday. We're going to establish a subcommittee to scrutinize it. We're about to have the first meeting very soon. Under Secretary, regarding the corresponding amendments to CAP 132CJ, we propose to deduct the embedded ventilating system certifications fees from the food business licenses fees so that applicants will not be charged twice for the same service. After deducting the fees concerned, if a food business license applicants opt for FSD services when they apply for a new license in the future, the actual fee amount to be paid will be the same as now. As for license renewal, which does not require submission of a ventilation system certificate, the fees will remain unchanged. The relevant license fees, or rather, the new scheme is to offer an additional option for applicants. They can either choose the service offered by RFE or the FSD. The relevant fee schedules has taken effect. The FVHD, and the EEB has implemented the new schedule as well. The FVHD, together with the FVHD, will meet with the catering industry next week to listen to their views and answer their questions. So this involves only new license applications for food business. License renewal will not be affected. 6 members have pressed the button. They are Benson Look, Chen Chen-yin, Stephen Ho, Eric Yim, Tony Che, and Xiu Ka-fai. This meeting was supposed to end at 4:30 p.m. If there are more members who'd like to speak, please press the button. Now, I have to go for another meeting at 4:30 p.m. I hope that we will conclude the meeting on time. Mr. Benson Look, thank you. In the panel on security meeting, we scrutinized this registered fire engineer scheme once. For applicants of new food business licenses, they will have another option upon the implementation of the scheme. After reviewing the first phase implementation, the government will consider extending the scheme to other licensed premises. At the initial stage of the scheme, the FSD is going to conduct a random audit inspections on the premises assessed by RFE. Should we just do it on a random basis? I think that we should inspect premises of various scales in order for us to have a more comprehensive data to review. The government said that they're going to evaluate the implementation of phase 1 of the scheme. Do you have a timetable? The engineering sector is concerned when they can start offering the service to other premises. Who will take the question? Mr. Check. Thank you. First, we're not, to clarify, we are going to select 70% of the certification completed by RFE for an audit inspections. And 1 year after implementation of the scheme, we're going to review it. Chairman, I was asking if you are going to select premises on a random basis or if you should select businesses of a certain scale to inspect. Undersecretary, only qualified persons with certain background can become an RFE. We're going to inspect 70% of the certification completed by an RFE. We adopt a risk-based approach. We look at the past performance of the premises, and we see if there are other issues with it. Let me give you an example. If the RFE conduct assessments and check the compliance, then we will audit their work. But we're talking about new license applications. So I don't think that you will be capable of reviewing their past performance. Undersecretary, when we look at the risk, we will see where the premises is. Is it on ground floor, the floor area of the food business? Do they have many VIP rooms, for example? That's how we assess the fire risk of the premises. So in other words, you do have certain criteria before you select a premise for audit inspections. So the inspections is not done on an entirely random basis. As I said, we're going to select 70% of the premises for inspection. It's not done on an entirely random basis. Let me give you an example. If it's a restaurant offering naked flame cooking or barbecue, they will be of a higher risk, and we may focus on them or inspect them. Mr. Chen Chenying, I have 3 questions. As the fee offered by the RFE will be charged as they decide, I wonder how many qualified persons we have and how many of them will try to apply to become an RFE. If there are too few RFE in the future, the fees charged may be very high. According to paragraph 9 of the paper, I see that some premises will be checked by the FSD, including dangerous goods stores and timber stores, private columbaria, e-waste disposal facilities. However, pet cremation sometimes takes place in factories. And for ceramics workshops, they also involve high temperature works. So I wonder if these 2 types of premises will be covered. While RFE is subject to corruption and is a high-risk industry, well, same goes for the banking industry. We have to receive training on anti-corruption. So will you ask these RFE to undergo corruption prevention tests? And only when they pass the test can they renew their license? Undersecretary. For those who can conduct fire safety assessments and conduct compliance inspections, there are 184 of them. Regarding those who can conduct compliance inspections, there are 2,700 of them. Those who can conduct compliance inspections for ventilating system, there are 2,200 of them. There are about 2,500 applications for food license every year. For premises of 250 square meters, they have to pay in total $4,370 if they choose FSD's service, but we need 30 to 37 working days to complete our inspections. If they opt for RFE's service, the food business will have to pay about $110,000. The entire inspection, however, will be completed within 4 working days. In the first phase, we will only cover food business licenses. As for other types of businesses, including elderly homes, they will be subject to the inspection of FSD instead. We're going to step up publicity and promotion on prevention of bribery and malpractices. We will work with the ICAC to offer professional training to RFE. Second, regarding the registration process, the adjudication and appeal procedures, we're going to regulate them under the Prevention of Bribery Ordinance. So the board and panel members will be public officers under POBO. We don't have any requirements on RFE to undergo corruption prevention training before they can renew their licenses. Well, if we come across bribery cases, then the administration should look into stepping up training.
Next Deputy Chair, Mr. Stephen Ho. I have a similar question as Mr. Ronick Chan about the fees. You mentioned about 1,000, 2,000 people. Will they have to take the exam to get the license? Will there be enough capacity? If there aren't enough licensees in the market, they can ask for a very high price. They're talking about $110,000. Yes, I'm being quite conservative already. Let me finish first. I hope that in the coming year you can keep in view of the change in prices. The same system applies to vessel inspection. There are only 24 licenses. And these 24 licensees, not all of them conduct businesses because they only pick big vessels. They only work for big corporations. For small companies, they have to pay a very high price. Of course, under this particular scheme, the FSD is still offering services. Well, you say that there are 2,000 people in the market that are eligible or qualified, but I'm not sure if we will see a loss of manpower sometime in the future. So I hope that 1 or 2 years later, after the implementation of the scheme, you'll be able to give a more neutral response to us. Now, on entering the trade or the industry, well, you have to be the gatekeeper to vet the applications. Engineers may keep the copyright. Same for vessel inspection. If they are to switch companies, they'll have to spend $80,000 or $100,000. Can the registration card be kept by the company instead of by the engineer? In case in the future, there is a loss of manpower, still the company will be able to keep the cards. I want to know if the copyright issue will lead to a fluctuation of prices. Undersecretary, I want to stress that the FSD since the 1970s has been taking part in the vetting of license applications. We've been vetting 18 types of different licenses. For food business licenses, we are offering an additional option for the trade. If the trade is of the view that the price is not appropriate, the FSD will continue to provide services, and our performance pledge is that we will complete the services within about 30 working days. Now, on the level of fees, the price I provided is an estimate from the trade. I believe that a lot of people will be eligible to provide the relevant services in the market. Currently speaking, for food business licenses per se, we do not require building plans. I'm not sure if the member is talking about construction plan. We will clarify this with the trade. We do not require building plans at this stage. Well, I think you have to look at the copyright issue. People are not familiar with the scheme at the beginning. So I just want you to be able to tackle this potential problem. there will be a talk. Please attend the talk, and then you can remind members of the trade to be careful with vessel inspection. Mr. Eric Yim. For those who obtain the qualification overseas, will they be able to take part in the scheme? Say I got my qualification in the UK, will I have to take an exam in Hong Kong in order to get the relevant qualification in Hong Kong to become a registered fire engineer? Also, you said that through the FSD, it costs about $4,300, and if you engage an RFE, it's about $110,000. It's a big difference in terms of the cost. It's a 20-fold difference. Will you impose a cap on the level of fees charged by fire engineers? Also, if we have more registered engineers, it will help alleviate the burden of the FSD. If that's the case, will you shorten the processing time? I believe it can be shortened to about 10 working days. Secretary. On registration, well, will we recognize those who did not obtain the qualification in Hong Kong? We will set up a registration committee, and the director of the fire services will appoint 4 people nominated by the engineering board. And this registration committee will look at the qualification and background provided by engineers, be they obtained from Hong Kong or overseas, and there will be an interview. Whether you obtained the qualification overseas or locally, what matters is you have to convince the registration committee that you can take up the relevant work. Also, we've got statistics from the markets. As long as we have enough registered engineers, it will be no problem. On mechanics, civil engineering, structural architecture, as well as electrical engineers, they only have to go through a simple procedure in order to get the certificate and be registered. So there will be a considerable number of registered engineers in the market. Now, on the performance pledge, the Fire Services Department will not compromise fire safety. Even after the implementation of the scheme, we will inspect the certification issued by registered fire engineers. For certification completed by registered engineers, we will conduct audit inspection on the spot. So we will only leave out 30% of the certification completed. We will face the same amount of workload. Mr. Tony Che, I support the implementation of this RFE scheme. We started talking about this scheme back in 2017. We have already passed the relevant amendment ordinance, and finally we are seeing the implementation details. So it's been some time already. Like the Undersecretary said, we are offering an additional option for those in the trade. I have one concern. The FSD will carry on with its work, and at the same time, it will inspect the work done by registered fire engineers. Will that make the vetting procedure longer? Will the FSD face manpower pressure? Now, for those who are eligible to apply to be a qualified registered fire engineer, well, the Undersecretary covered which areas they are specialized in. Just now, Mr. Stephen Ho mentioned about building plans. Building plans are drawn by architects. How come architects are not included as one of the professionals who can apply to become an RFE? In fact, the Institute of Architects wrote to the FSD about this yesterday. Architects work on building designs and they take part in this process very often. How come they're not included as one of the professionals who can apply to be a qualified engineer under the scheme? Undersecretary. Engineers, by attending a course, they can become a registered engineer. As to which type of engineer would be qualified, we have conducted an extensive consultation. Those in surveying, they can apply for the qualification. It's not that we are drawing a line here. The courses they have to attend may change. Say in the future, architects have to go through the same type of work, and where the registration committee finds it appropriate, we may include architects as well. Mr. J. What about the vetting procedure? Will it become longer? Will there be manpower pressure? Undersecretary. So there are two aspects. A registered fire engineer will conduct safety risk assessment, and they will conduct compliance inspection and formulate a safety requirement. We will complete the inspection of the safety requirement within 3 days. We will inspect 70% of the certification completed. That means the licenses will have been granted. It will not affect the license holders. It's just that we're going to do a random check, and within 3 working days, we will complete the audit inspection. That means there will be no additional manpower, and even so, you'll be able to cope with the workload. Well, we won't have an increased manpower. Well, to put it simply, even if the food premises, they do not engage a registered engineer, the services will be offered by the FSD. Well, back in the 1970s, the FSD has been vetting the applications. Nowadays, we have over 20,000 food premises. Well, the Undersecretary said there is no need to increase the manpower. Well, of course, I welcome that. I'm just trying to say that architects are widely recognized by the sector. They have expressed their discontent about the fact that they are not included as one of the professionals who can apply for the qualification.
Mr. Xiu Ka-fai. There are 18 types of premises who need to obtain licenses. Schools, cinema, funeral homes, game centers, karaoke, etc. need to obtain licenses issued by the FSD. So the department is facing great pressure. Under the scheme, RFE can share the workload of the FSD, and this also provides job opportunities and business opportunities for the engineering sector. According to the administration, the RFE will be categorized into 3 classes: risk assessment, fire service installation, and ventilating system. Applicants can either apply to become one or all 3 classes. Why do we not require the RFE to be qualified for all 3 types of work? Because if the current approach is adopted, the premises may have to engage 3 different engineers to complete the process. Undersecretary, well, this is the result upon discussion with the trade and the stakeholders. The RFE risk assessment is responsible for conducting fire safety risk assessments and formulate the fire safety requirements for the licensed premises. That's Type A work. Type B work is the actual installation of the systems and equipment. Type C work is about ventilating systems and the issuance of certificates. So we're talking about 3 different types of registration, 3 different classes that are handling 2 types of work. If a single engineer hold licenses of all 3 classes, will be the one to formulate risk assessment and risk and fire safety requirements, as well as the one to issue certificates. As the Undersecretary said, if that's the case, the administration and FSD will focus on this type of premises. At the initial stage, the FSD is going to inspect 70% of the certification completed by the RFE. All engineers, apart from electrical engineers, can apply to become RFE for all 3 classes. Last question. Are you going to reduce your manpower because your workload has been alleviated under the scheme? Undersecretary, as I said, we have the 3rd runway system we have to work on. We have improvement scheme on old buildings, and we have the protection of infrastructures, critical infrastructures that we have to work on. Also, after the RFE has formulated fire safety requirements, we have to look into them. And only after we have approved the requirements can the RFE take forward the next stage of the work. Even after the RFE has conducted compliance inspections, we're going to sample 70% of the completions. Thank you. All members have put questions. Let's conclude this item. Thank you for attending. Item 5, any other business? There being no AOB, meeting adjourned.
呢度冇寫俾我講。
開翻主席個咪先啊！
佢應該係 brief 佢頭先係結束咗。
佢結束咗就唔啦。嗰個因緣即場結咗。
呢度。做咩？工作。
副長你可以開翻咪俾你咪。
係，因為咧喺文件入邊咧有提到咧，我哋 Cap 132 CJ 咧都會有一啲即係附例嘅修訂，咁就事務委員會嘅委員都同意我哋即係跟住嗰個即係程序咁樣。
呢個主要就係講翻嗰個收費，分開兩份。
係啊，因為消防嗰度係啦，
我明白，我冇聽到同事有反對嘅意見，大家都係問整個過程嘅啫。咁我聽唔到有意見，我都冇意見。OK。
好啊，好，唔該晒。
唔好意思啊，咁啊其。
Any other business? There being no other business, meeting adjourned.